안녕하세요. 주님의 이름으로 은혜와 평강을 전합니다. 저는 대뉴저지연회 레르탄 쇼어 디스트릭트를 섬기고 있는 도상환 감리사입니다. 여러분과 함께 성탄과 그리고 새해를 같이 축하할 수 있는 예배를 드리게 돼서 영광으로 생각합니다. 이제 저희들이 성령님께 의지하며 이 기쁜 예배로 들어가고자 합니다. 여러분들 경건한 마음으로, 그러나 또한 우리 주님 생신 축하하는 기쁜 마음으로 이 예배에 참여해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 다 같이 기도하시겠습니다. 사랑의 하나님, 경의의 하나님, 주님의 놀라우신 선물 예수 그리스도를 저희들이 마음에 받으며 생신을 축하하는 이 자리에 저희들이 모여 있습니다. 이 시간 예수 그리스도께서 저희 마음속에 새롭게 임하시게 되기를 원합니다. 때로는 편안한 삶 가운데 살기를 원하는 저희의 욕망 때문에 주님을 제대로 따르지 못했고 그 사명에 충성하지 못했음을 고백합니다. 이 시간 이 예배를 통하여 우리 주 예수 그리스도를 새롭게 다시 한번 저희 마음에 받게 도와주시고, 예수 그리스도와 더불어 주님의 하나님 나라를 개척하는 귀한 사명을 잘 감당할 수 있도록 인도하여 주시옵소서. 우리 주 예수 그리스도, 아기 예수 그리스도의 이름 받들어 간절히 기도드렸습니다. 아멘.
할렐루야. 오늘 거룩한 성탄절을 맞이하여서 또 주님의 거룩한 날을 맞이하여서 함께 예배드리고 우리 아기 예수님의 탄생을 축하하며 우리가 경배드리는 여러분 모두를 우리 주 예수 그리스도의 이름으로 환영하면서 문안의 인사를 드립니다. 몇 가지 광고 드립니다. 우리 함께 사역하는 패터슨 쿠맥이라는 기관 1월 달에는 그 캔 수프, 그 깡통에 들은 수프를 필요로 한다고 합니다. 그래서 그로서리 쇼핑하실 때 기억하시고 함께 준비해서 교회로 갖다 주시면은 우리 대표자가 쿠맥으로 전달하겠습니다. 그리고 1월 1일이 주일입니다. 그래서 금년 성구영신 예배에는 우리가 12월 31일 새벽 예배와 함께 드리겠습니다. 기억하시고 12월 31일 금년의 마지막 새벽 예배이면서 우리가 성구 영신 예배로 드리고 1월 1일 주일은 우리가 성찬으로 새해를 맞이하겠습니다. 그래서 기억해서 참석해 주시고 1월 1일 첫 주일 후에 원하시는 가정들 2023년도 기도 제목을 쓰셔서 저에게 주시면은 함께 안수하고 가족을 위해서 축복 기도 해드리겠습니다. 1월 1일 주일 예배 후에 그렇게 하겠습니다. 그리고 신년 특별 새벽 예배를 계획합니다. 여러분들 우리가 모든 일에 하나님께 먼저 기도로 아뢰고 한 해를 시작하면 좋을 것 같아서 1월 첫째 월요일부터 금요일까지는 새벽 예배를 소예배실에서 하겠습니다. 대면으로 하실 분은 하시고 또 줌으로 온라인으로 하실 분들은 하시는데, 날씨를 보셔서 요즘 겨울 날씨 예측하기가 어려우니까 항상 그 세이프티, 안전을 주의하셔서 꼭 나와야겠다 그런 것보다도 현명한 판단을 하시면 되겠습니다. 그러나 하여튼 우리가 일주일 동안 월요일부터 금요일까지는 소예배실에서 6시에 대면 예배와 줌으로 드리고, 토요일은 평소와 마찬가지로 우리가 이 본당에서 새벽 예배를 함으로 해서 새해 첫 시작을 우리가 특별 새벽 예배로 시작하면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 우리 중보기도를 위해서 우리 주보에 기록된 분들 계속해서 함께 기도해 주시고, 오늘의 예배는 특별히 우리 연회 지도자들이 함께 이렇게 제작하고 준비한 예배를 나눔으로 오늘의 예배를 하고자 합니다. 그래서 여러분들 사도 바울이 모든 지도자들을 위해서 함께 합력하여 기도하라고 했죠. 정치적인 지도자든 영적인 지도자든 교회의 지도자든 지도자의 입장이라는 것이 많은 사람들에게 영향력을 미치기 때문에 우리가 결혼의 관계도 그러죠. 우리가 결혼한 것이 for better, for worse, 좋을 때나 안 좋을 때나, 또 우리가 연애적으로도 어려운 일도 많고 하는데 어쨌든 우리 감독 존 숄 위해서 함께 기도하시면서 오늘 예배를 주관하는 모든 연예 지도자들 함께 계속 기도해 주시고 합력해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 오늘 성탄을 축하하며 우리 사랑하는 지윤 그레이스 킴이 우리가 하나님께 바이올린으로 특별 찬양함으로 영광 돌려드리겠습니다. Thank you. That was wonderful. 감사합니다. 우리 이제 다 함께 일어나서 우리 연회 이 찬양팀 인도로 함께 성탄 찬양하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 이스턴 펜실베니아 연회에서 북지방 감리사로 섬기고 있는 이훈주 목사라고 합니다. 우리 다 같이 기도하시겠습니다. 주님 은혜를 감사드립니다. 예수 그리스도의 탄생을 기억하며 주님의 오심을 축하할 수 있는 기쁜 절기를 주심을 감사합니다. 저희들 기도하오니 성탄의 빛과 의미를 새롭게 지각하여 우리의 불신앙과 어두운 마음을 떨쳐버리고 확신과 기쁜 마음을 가지고 주님의 오심을 경배하게 하여 주시옵소서. 우리 구주 예수님께서 우리를 죄에서 구원하기 위하여 임마누엘의 하나님으로 성탄하셨습니다. 이보다 더 큰 크리스마스의 선물은 없습니다. 살든지 죽든지 건강하든지 아프든지 부하든지 가난하든지 어떠한 상황에서도 사망의 음침한 골짜기를 걸어간다 할지라도 나와 함께 하시는 임마누엘의 하나님의 충만한 은혜를 누리게 하여 주시옵소서. 주님, 특별히 세계 곳곳에서 어려움과 슬픔을 많이 겪었던 한 해였습니다. 우리 하나님께서 상처받은 이들의 슬픔을 위로해 주시고 그들의 눈물을 닦아주시기를 기도드립니다. 질병으로 고통받는 사람들이 있습니다. 주님의 치유의 손을 내밀어 주셔서 그들을 위로하여 주시고 고통을 덜어 주시옵소서. 외로움 속에서 살아가거나 불안함 속에 살아가는 이들이 임마누엘의 하나님을 만나게 하여 주시옵소서. 어둠과 절망 속에 살아가는 이들에게 소망을 허락하시기를 기도드립니다. 또한 굶주리고 목마른 사람들을 축복하여 주셔서 정의와 평안을 얻을 수 있도록 인도하여 주시옵소서. 주님, 또한 저희들이 겪는 슬픔과 고통 안에서 지혜롭게 하나님의 뜻을 찾고 함께 극복할 수 있도록 인도하여 주시옵소서. 비록 어렵고 힘든 상황에서 석탄을 맞이하지만 그런 모든 어려움을 불구하고도 세상에 빛으로 오신 주님을 향해 용기 있게 나가며 사랑을 실천하게 하여 주시옵소서. 아기 예수님의 모습을 바라보며 서로 나누고 사랑하며 섬기고 용서하는 삶을 살게 하시고 특별히 가난하고 고통받는 사람들에게 우리 하나님의 은혜와 사랑이 함께 하시기를 기도드립니다. 그래서 예수님의 성탄의 기쁨이 모든 곳에 전해질 수 있도록 인도하여 주시옵소서. 주님이 성탄절이 치유의 계절이 되게 하시고 희망과 사랑과 기쁨의 계절이 되게 하여 주시옵소서. 또한 진정한 나눔과 섬김의 계절이 되게 인도하여 주시옵소서. 이 시간 하나님 앞에 예배하는 성도님들 한 분 한 분 붙들어 주시고 친히 함께 하셔서 우리 불안한 인생에서 경험하는 모든 위기 가운데서도 담대하게 웃고 감사하며 기뻐하는 복된 임마누엘의 은혜를 부어 주시옵소서. 이 땅에서 누리는 임마누엘의 은혜가 완성될 그날까지 제자에게 맡겨주신 예배와 교제와 훈련과 사역과 복음 전도와 선교의 사명 감당하는 우리 모두가 되게 하여 주시옵소서. 임마누엘의 우리 주 예수 그리스도의 이름으로 기도드립니다. 아멘. 오늘 저희들에게 주시는 하나님의 말씀은 누가복음 2장 8절에서 20절입니다. 그 지역의 목자들이 밤에 밖에 나가서 자기 양떼를 지키더니 주의 사자가 곁에 서고 주의 영광이 그들을 두루 비추매 크게 무서워하는지라. 천사가 이르되 무서워하지 말라. 보라, 내가 온 백성에게 미칠 큰 기쁨의 좋은 소식을 너희에게 전하노라. 오늘 다윗의 동네에 너희를 위하여 구주가 나셨으니 곧 그리스도 주시니라. 너희가 가서 강보에 쌓여 구유에 누워있는 아기를 보리니 이것이 너희에게 표적이니라 하더니 호련히 수많은 천군이 그 천사들과 함께 하나님을 찬송하여 이르되 지극히 높은 곳에서는 하나님께 영광이요 땅에서는 하나님이 기뻐하신 사람들 중에 평화로다 하니라. 천사들이 떠나 하늘로 올라가니 목자가 서로 말하되 이제 베들레헴으로 가서 주께서 우리에게 알리신 바 이 이루어진을 보자 하고 빨리 가서 마리아와 요셉과 구유에 누인 아기를 찾아서 보고 천사가 자기들에게 이 아기에 대하여 말할 것을 전하니 듣는 자가 다 목자들이 그들에게 말한 것을 놀랍게 여기되 마리아는 이 모든 말을 마음에 새기어 생각하니라. 목자들은 자기들에게 이르던 바와 같이 듣고 본 그 모든 것을 인하여 하나님께 영광을 돌리고 찬송하며 돌아가니라. 아멘.
Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining. I just want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas season, and hope all the blessings of this season just fill your household, fill your friends, fill your neighbors with the great joy of Jesus Christ. And thank you for joining me today. I want to talk a little bit about Christmas and the wonder of Christmas. And when I was growing up, Christmas for me and my family was wondrous. It was just a joy-filled time, it was happy, and there was always plenty of wonder to go around. I remember growing up, me and my brothers really took very literally the words, Santa's going to visit, but if you're naughty or nice. And so we always, in the last week before Christmas, became the kindest kids in the whole neighborhood. I mean, we would do everything to help other people out. You know, Mom was taking the trash out. Mom, I'll take that. Oh, I'll do the dishes tonight. And so we just were very kind in the expectation that we would get wonderful gifts that Christmas. Now, growing up in the Scholl family, back in the 1960s, I can't believe it was that long ago, we would get the Sears catalog. Now, some of you may not be familiar with the Sears catalog. So much is done online today. But there used to be this thick book that would come from Sears. And it would come in November. And it would have all of the things that anybody would ever want for Christmas. And just in case there was any doubt, we would take a pen and circle the gift that we would want to make sure that everybody knew exactly what we wanted for Christmas. Well, in the Scholl family, growing up, my father was a carpet weaver, and there was not a lot of money to go around. And so we were lucky if we got one or two gifts that we might have circled in the Sears catalog. But Christmas morning was always so exciting. There would be gifts under the Christmas tree. There would be a tree that would be lit. There would be a platform with a train on it that would go around. Everybody would have a stocking. It was wondrous. And we'd all open our gifts, and it would just be a joyous time. Never forget, Dad always got his gifts. They were in his stocking. He would always get several Hershey bars and a carton of Lucky Strikes cigarettes. Now, it's amazing my father lived as long as he did, but with the diet he kept and the cigarettes that he smoked. But that was his Christmas gift every Christmas growing up. You know, as we got a little older, it was interesting that we found out along the way that for some reason, Santa actually visited our house early, and presents would be hidden throughout the house. Now, we weren't supposed to go and find those presents. They were to wind up under the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. But once we began to learn that Santa was actually bringing the gifts early, my brothers and I would be curious about what we were going to get that Christmas. And so when Mom and Dad were out of the house, we would go from room to room, checking under beds, checking in closets, be in the back of the closet. We'd go down into the basement, look around in the basement. We'd go down into the garage. We'd look everywhere to see what gifts we might be getting. And we would discover these gifts. And then I think my parents must have realized that we were actually doing that, so they would wrap the gifts before they hid them. And we became very good at unwrapping gifts and rewrapping them so they never looked disturbed. And so on Christmas morning, the wonder was the surprise on our face when we saw the gifts, because we already knew what gifts we were getting. And so the real wonder of Christmas morning was how we could look so surprised knowing the gifts we were already going to be getting. So Christmas in the Scholl family was really amazing and a great time. But you know, one of the things I learned over time was that I actually more enjoyed not knowing what I was going to get on Christmas morning, the mystery of it, and then being able to discover for the first time the gifts that I would be receiving. There was just something about mystery and the ability to learn and to be surprised and at the wondrous morning it was. And so today I want to talk with you about wonder. And I want to talk with you about three things of wonder: kindness, curiosity, and mystery. Now, first, let's take a look at this biblical passage. Man, it's a mysterious passage. I mean, here the shepherds are. They're out there in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, there's this announcement that there's this birth. They see the star and these angels, and it's a wonder. I mean, it's a miracle. It's miraculous. It's a surprise to them, and there's this great wonder. But this isn't the first wonder that happens in the story. As a matter of fact, if you read back further and earlier in the story, you'll find that Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, was muted. He couldn't talk because he wanted to name his son after him. As firstborn son, it was going to be named after me. And God had other plans that this firstborn son was going to be named John. Now, I don't know why Zechariah didn't like John. I mean, I think it's a great name to be named. But, he didn't for some reason. But John actually means child of God. And so when Zechariah finally committed and said, yes, the child's name would be John, then he got his voice back. Great celebration, birth of John the Baptist. So that was the first kind of wondrous story. Then the second is Mary and John the Baptist's mother were walking and getting ready to meet each other, and John the Baptist leapt in the womb, coming into the presence of Mary as she is pregnant with Jesus. And so this is the second wonder that we already hear about this story of the birth of Jesus. So already a wonder is occurring. Now wonder, one of the things I like about, particularly in the English language, is this wonder, this word wonder, really captures these two meanings. One is, like it's meant in the Bible, a miracle. Something fabulous is happening. Something of God is happening. As a matter of fact, in the Gospel of John, John talks about miracles as signs, God's presence, God's wonder in our midst. And so wonder means a miracle, the act of God happening in our midst, the sign of God. God is doing something right here. The other thing I love about it is this whole sense of curiosity, wondering, what could be happening. And certainly in the biblical story, both of them are happening in the birth of Jesus. There is this sense of God doing a miraculous thing. And there is also this sense of, what does this child mean for the world? What does this child mean for my life? So I really love that. Now, as I said, I want to talk about three parts of wonder. I want to talk about kindness, I want to talk about curiosity, and I want to talk about mystery. First is kindness. In 2017, there was a movie. It was called Wonder. And maybe you've seen it, but it's a story about this young boy who's homeschooled. And the primary reason that he's homeschooled is because he has deformity of his face. And he really doesn't like to be seen in public. As a matter of fact, whenever he goes out in public, he wears a space helmet so that people really can't see his face. And so his mother decides when he turns 8 that it's time for him to go to school, that he really has to face into being with other children, not wearing his helmet. And so this great, powerful movie that is called Wonder, and if you get a chance, I invite you to see it. But in there's this great line, and it says, "Choose kindness over being right." Wow, listen to that again. Choose kindness over being right. You see, sometimes kids like to find faults in others. And they certainly were right. His face was deformed. And they could actually be pretty cruel to this young kid. And it's a great story. I don't want to spoil the story for you, but that line of choosing kindness over being right. Have you ever been in a conversation and you just want to make sure that everybody knows you are right? Or have you ever been in a conversation where somebody keeps making the point that they are right? And it really never comes off well because it's more about them than the conversation or engaging with people. And so this whole sense of being kind over being right is so critical and important, and particularly in the Christmas story, because that's what God was really all about. God was sending Jesus into the world because God loved the world. It wasn't so much that God was trying to say, you got to do the right thing. God was saying, I love you. It was really the kindness of God that was coming out for the whole world in that first Christmas story. So kindness is really very important. And one of the things I find in life is that people often feel they need permission to be kind. They're waiting for an opening to be kind rather than embodying kindness. Everywhere you go, every place you are just kind. You care about people. You're thoughtful about people. You think, what does the person need before you think about what do I need in this situation? I was reading the other day about Portugal and their culture. They have a culture of kindness, and people in Portugal are just kind. It's part of their values. It's part of who they are. And it was just really an American couple who went and lived in Portugal who was telling this story about just how they find people in Portugal to be kind. And it's part of their values. It's part of their culture. It's just who they are. What does it look like for us? Or what does it look like for the congregation to just have a value, a culture of kindness, caring about others before we care about ourselves? I heard a district superintendent recently describing going to a church, and they went in, and there in the entryway of the church were some church people talking to each other. Never greeted the superintendent. The superintendent had to get her own bulletin, find her own seat. Nobody came and talked to her. That's a congregation that exemplifies a lot of our congregations, actually. We're all thinking about what do I need or who do I want to engage with, rather than who's the visitor here, who needs to be welcomed, or who needs to hear from me? How can I be kind to somebody on this morning? So one of the things that really bring wonder into Christmas and what God brought was just a deep sense of kindness. Now the second is curiosity. And I heard this phrase recently, and I've really been thinking about it, meditating on it, and even talking about it. And this is choose curiosity over judgment. Wow, think about that. What does it mean to become more curious rather than judging people? Again, I don't know what you find in life, but I often find that people make judgments before they fully understand, before they really take time to learn and to listen to learn. And so, here in the Christmas story, this is really all about a very curious story. And you hear people asking questions all along. Mary's asking, why me? Who am I? The shepherds are wondering, why are you visiting us? What is our part in this story? There's all of these great, curious questions. What does it mean, rather than judging people, to learn more about people? To really try and understand who they are, what their story's been, where they've traveled, what has happened in their life that has helped to shape who they are. What does it mean that we actually start becoming more curious rather than making a decision already about a person or a situation? I invite you this Christmas season into practicing curiosity, just learning more about people before you try and have other people learn about you. You know, what does it mean to listen, to learn, to be outward toward people, and really try and understand who they are? And then the third area is mystery. As I said, mystery was so much more enjoyable on Christmas morning when I didn't know what I was getting, and it was a big surprise. Mystery. Mystery has great power to it. We live in an advanced time in society, certainly from the biblical understandings and what they understood. There's science. We know so much more, and we know so much more about sociology and psychology, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's really important, that we continue to make advances in science and psychology and sociology and understanding our world, understanding people. But leave room for mystery. Don't think that you've got to have it all figured out. Or just because you don't have something figured out, you've got to make some rational reason for why it happens. Wonders happen when we're open to mystery. When we know it all, it's very hard to have any wonder. We already know. But mystery allows for God to do things that we never saw coming. There's a preaching professor. His name was Fred Craddock, and he was a great storyteller. But he tells this story about his family. And every Sunday afternoon, they would go for a walk. And on this walk, this adventure, they would look for wondrous things out of the ordinary, things that they hadn't seen before, and be astonished by these different things that they have seen. Maybe it was something in nature. Maybe it was a bird. Maybe it was kids playing in the fountain. Whatever it was, it was a wonder to them. It was astonishing for them on that particular day. What does it look like to go through your life with just that kind of adventure? Let's keep our eyes open for something astonishing. Let's keep our eyes open for something wondrous. Let's be surprised by what God has for us. And, this happened to me one time. I'm a runner. And, I like to run, but I had some pain in my knees, so I had to give it rest. And so all I could do was walk. And the things I saw when I walked that I never noticed when I ran. It was miraculous. It was amazing. And I saw all kinds of things in nature. I saw things in people. I saw things in the surroundings, the environment that I never saw while I was running, because I was focused on what was right in front of me and I was moving at a faster pace. But when I slowed down and looked more around me, it was amazing. It was so amazing that I started to carry my phone with me because I wanted to take pictures of these things that I saw as I would go on this walk. What does it look like for in our lives to leave some openness to mystery? Wonder that's built around kindness, that helps God's presence to grow up in the world. Wonder that's built around curiosity rather than judgment, and looking and asking good questions. And being open to mystery, the surprise, the wonder that God has waiting for us. Well, in this story about this young boy with this deformed face, one point in the story, one of the kids says, why don't you get plastic surgery? And the kid says, what do you think? I've already had 20 plastic surgeries. This is why I look so good today. And then his mother says to him at one time when he's really hurt, she said to him, God made you to stand out. wow, God wanted you to stand out. You could have been just anybody, but you stand out. You know, God has made all of us to stand out. That's really what the story of Christmas is all about. That God sent Jesus Christ into the world, that we would all recognize that in God's eyes, we are somebody special. We may look different. We may have different experiences. We may not think of ourselves as somebody who stands out. But God has put us into this world to stand out. And if you really want to stand out, well, choose kindness over being right. Choose curiosity over judgment. And choose mystery over knowing everything. Let me tell you, you will stand out with those choices. May God bless you in this Christmas season, and may God continue to enrich your life as you continue to live the birth of Christ into the world. Amen.
이 연예 지도자들이 준비한 예배를 오늘 함께 나눌까 말까 한참 길 기도했습니다. 그러다가 사도 바울의 말씀이 기억나서 쓰기로 결정했습니다. 사도 바울이 말하기를 여러분들의 지도자를 위해서 함께 기도하라고 합니다. 지도자라는 것이 정치적이든 종교적이든 신앙적이든 지도자의 입장이 그를 따르는 많은 사람들의 삶에 큰 영향력을 미칠 수가 있습니다. 때로는 지도자들로 인하여 우리가 상처받고 길을 잃을 때도 있고, 때로는 좋은 지도자들로 말미암아 온전한 길을 찾고 삶의 화목함과 풍부함을 경험할 수도 있는 그런 중요한 역할이 있기 때문에 오늘 여러분도 우리 감독과 또 감리사들, 여러 연예 지도자들 기억하시면서 우리가 한 해의 삶 가운데 또 새로운 삶을 기억하며 계획하며 우리가 기억하고 함께 기도에 동참해 주시면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 우리가 1월 달부터는 우리가 한 달에 한 번씩이라도 속회를 다시 시작할 예정입니다. 속회 공과가 나가시다 보면 테이블에 준비되어 있습니다. 받아가지 못하신 분들 가져가시고, 금년 우리 내년도 달력이 너무 인기인 것 같아요. 작은 달력은 벌써 다 없어졌네요. 우리 그 성경 일독할 수 있는 달력만 남아 있습니다. 필요하시면 가져가시고, 또 예배 끝나고 여러분들 돌아가실 때에 가족과 저녁 드시고 아니면 점심 드시고 함께 디저트로 나눌 수 있는 달콤한 그 디저트가 준비되어 있습니다. 받아가시고 좋은 성탄절 되시기를 바랍니다. 이제는 우리 주 예수 그리스도의 은혜와 하나님 아버지의 무한하신 사랑하심과 성령의 감동하심이 오늘 주님의 거룩한 탄생을 기뻐하고 찬양하고 경배하고 예배드리고 세상으로 향하며 오늘로부터 십자가에 이르기까지 그 삶을 계속하시는 우리 주 예수 그리스도의 그 발자취를 따라가겠노라 결단하고 세상으로 향하는 하나님의 모든 자녀들 위해 이제부터 영원까지 함께 하시기를 간절히 축원하옵나이다. 아멘.